Of course. Here are the first 25 phrasal verbs with their meanings, sentences in all tenses, and a story incorporating all of them, all in English. Back up, back up, back up. Meaning, to support, to move backwards, or to make a copy of data. Present, I always back up my computer files to an external drive. She backs up her arguments with strong evidence. The traffic always backs up at this intersection during rush hour. He backs up his colleague during difficult meetings. Past, yesterday, he backed up his phone before updating the software. The truck driver backed up into the loading dock carefully. The data was backed up automatically last night. They backed up their friend's story to the police. Future, I will back up the entire server before we make any changes. She will back up her claims with documents tomorrow. The car will need to back up to let the ambulance through. They will back you up if you need support during the presentation. Participle, I am backing up my photos right now to the cloud. He is backing up the car slowly out of the garage. The team is backing up their manager's decision. She is backing up her hard drive as we speak. Break down, break down, break down. Meaning, to stop functioning, to fail, or to decompose. Present, my old car often breaks down in cold weather. She breaks down complex problems into simple steps. Negotiations break down when trust is lost. Organic waste breaks down quickly in a compost bin. Past, his motorcycle broke down on the highway yesterday. She broke down in tears after hearing the news. The talks broke down over a disagreement on price. The old shed broke down and collapsed in the storm. Future, the system will break down if we overload it. He will break down the cost for us in the meeting. I fear the negotiations will break down again. This material will break down in sunlight over time. Participle, the printer is breaking down again, causing delays. She is breaking down the data into manageable categories. He is breaking down emotionally under the pressure. The workers are breaking down the old stage after the concert. Bring up, bring up, bring up. Meaning, to raise a child or a topic for discussion. Present, they bring up their children to be respectful and kind. He always brings up politics at dinner, which causes arguments. The software brings up an error message when it fails. She brings up a good point about the budget. Past, his grandparents brought him up after his parents passed away. She brought up the issue during the staff meeting yesterday. The computer brought up a security alert. He brought up the subject of a pay raise. Future, I will bring up your suggestion at the next board meeting. They will bring up their child in a bilingual household. The system will bring up a notification when the scan is complete. Who will bring up this sensitive topic with the client? Participle, she is bringing up her children to value education. He is bringing up the same old problem again. The application is bringing up a login screen. I am bringing up this matter because it is important. Call off, call off, call off. Meaning, to cancel an event or agreement. Present, the manager often calls off meetings at the last minute. The city calls off the outdoor concert due to the storm warning. They call off the search at dusk for safety reasons. She calls off the deal if the terms are not met. Past, they called off the wedding just a week before the ceremony. The pilot called off the landing attempt because of strong crosswinds. We called off the picnic when the dark clouds gathered. The company called off the merger after reviewing the financial risks. Future, the organizers will call off the event if ticket sales are low. He will call off the negotiations if they don't reach an agreement by Friday. The team will call off the practice if the field is too wet. She will call off the party if too many people cannot attend. Participle, they are calling off the game right now because of the lightning. The director is calling off the filming due to the actor's illness. I am calling off our plans for the weekend as I am not feeling well. The government is calling off the alert as the danger has passed. Carry on. Carry on, carry on. Meaning, to continue doing something. Present, please carry on with your work while I am away. He carries on talking even when no one is listening. The team carries on with the project despite the setbacks. Life carries on as usual in the bustling city. Past, despite her grief, she carried on with her responsibilities. The soldiers carried on marching through the night. We carried on with the meeting after the interruption. The band carried on playing even when the power went out. Future, we will carry on with the renovation until it is finished. She will carry on her research at the new university. They will carry on living in the old house. The company will carry on producing the classic model. Participle, he is carrying on with his speech despite the hecklers. The workers are carrying on with the construction in the rain. I am carrying on with my studies late into the night. The engine is carrying on making a strange noise, come across, come across, come across. Meaning, to find or meet by chance. Present, I often come across interesting articles while researching online. He comes across as very confident in job interviews. She comes across many old friends at the annual reunion. This document comes across my desk every month for approval. Past, I came across a beautiful little bookstore while wandering through the old town. She came across some old love letters in the attic. He came across very poorly during the presentation. We came across a herd of deer on our hike yesterday. Future, you will come across many challenges on your journey. She will come across the solution if she keeps looking. He will come across as knowledgeable if he prepares well. They will come across that bridge when they get to it. Participle, I am coming across a lot of resistance to my new idea. She is coming across some very useful information in the archives. He is coming across as desperate in his emails. They are coming across an old, abandoned railway line. Cut back on, cut back on, cut back on. Meaning, to reduce the amount of something. Present, I am trying to cut back on coffee to sleep better. The government cuts back on spending during an economic downturn. She cuts back on social events to focus on her studies. The company cuts back on plastic packaging to be more eco-friendly. Past, we cut back on our expenses after buying the new house. He cut back on sugar and lost a lot of weight. The factory cut back on production due to low demand. They cut back on travel to save money. Future, I will cut back on overtime to spend more time with my family. The school will cut back on art programs if the budget is reduced. She will cut back on her workload after the big project. They will cut back on energy use to lower their bills. Participle, he is cutting back on his hours at work to avoid burnout. The city is cutting back on water usage due to the drought. I am cutting back on unnecessary purchases this month. The team is cutting back on mistakes to improve their performance. Do away with, do away with, do away with. Meaning, to abolish or get rid of something. Present, many countries are trying to do away with single-use plastics. The new manager wants to do away with the strict dress code. This software update does away with the need for a password. They do away with outdated policies every year. Past, the school did away with final exams for younger students. The law did away with the tax for most homeowners. The revolution did away with the old monarchy. We did away with our old car and bought a new one. Future, the company will do away with the traditional office and promote remote work. The new system will do away with paper forms entirely. They will do away with the old rules to make way for progress. This technology will do away with the need for physical keys. Participle, the government is doing away with the controversial program. The developer is doing away with the old features of the app. I am doing away with all the clutter in my garage. The team is doing away with inefficient processes. Figure out, figure out, figure out. Meaning, to understand or find a solution. Present, I need to figure out how to use this new software. She figures out the answer to the puzzle quickly. The engineer figures out why the machine keeps failing. We must figure out a way to reduce costs. Past, after hours of study, I finally figured out the calculus problem. She figured out that he had been lying to her. They figured out a shortcut to the beach. The technician figured out the bug in the code. Future, we will figure out the details of the plan tomorrow. He will figure out a solution to this crisis. Scientists will figure out a cure for the disease. They will figure out who is responsible for the error. Participle, I am figuring out the best route to take to avoid traffic. She is figuring out how to assemble the furniture. The detective is figuring out the motive for the crime. We are figuring out our budget for the next year. Get along, get along, get along. Meaning, to have a harmonious or friendly relationship. Present, my sister and I get along very well now that we are older. He gets along with everyone in the office. The two dogs get along surprisingly well. They get along fine despite their differences. Past, we got along with our neighbors when we lived in the city. She got along beautifully with her new in-laws. The children got along well at the summer camp. The two rival companies surprisingly got along during the collaboration. Future, I hope we will get along with our new teammates. The puppy will get along with the old cat eventually. They will get along once they get to know each other. She will put off her retirement for another year. They will put off the decision until they have more information. Participle, I am putting off cleaning the garage until the weekend. The manager is putting off the difficult conversation with his employee. The rain is putting people off from attending the outdoor event. She is putting off starting her diet until after the holidays. Put up with, put up with, put up with. Meaning, to tolerate or endure something unpleasant. Present, I cannot put up with this constant noise anymore. She puts up with a long commute to work every day. The teacher has to put up with a lot of disruptive behavior. They put up with his bad jokes because he is their friend. Past, we put up with the cold weather for the entire camping trip. She put up with his rudeness for years before finally leaving. The neighbors put up with the construction noise for months. He put up with the pain until he could see a doctor. Future, I will not put up with this kind of treatment in the future. She will have to put up with his snoring for the rest of her life. They will not put up with any more delays. How long will you put up with that terrible job? Participle, I am putting up with a lot of stress at work right now. She is putting up with her roommate's messy habits. He is putting up with the inconvenience while his house is being renovated. We are putting up with the slow internet service until the provider fixes it. Run out of, run out of, run out of. Meaning, to use all of something so that nothing is left. Present, we often run out of milk because the children drink so much. The car runs out of petrol if you don't fill it up. She runs out of patience when people are late. This printer runs out of ink very quickly. Past, we ran out of time and couldn't finish the exam. The hospital ran out of masks during the pandemic. He ran out of ideas for his novel. They ran out of money halfway through their vacation. Future, we will run out of clean water if we are not careful. The store will run out of the popular toy before Christmas. She will run out of excuses eventually. They will run out of options soon. Participle, I am running out of patience with this slow computer. The company is running out of time to complete the project. We are running out of space in our storage room. He is running out of reasons to stay, set up. Meaning, to arrange, establish, or prepare. Present, I will set up a meeting for next Tuesday. She sets up her easel in the garden to paint. He sets up a trust fund for his children. They set up a new business in the city center. Past, we set up the Christmas tree last weekend. The organization set up a relief fund for the victims. He set up a surprise party for his wife. The technician set up my new computer yesterday. Future, the crew will set up the stage for the concert tomorrow. I will set up a college fund for my newborn niece. They will set up a committee to investigate the issue. She will set up her own law practice after graduation. Participle, I am setting up a new email account. The volunteers are setting up the chairs for the event. He is setting up a trap to catch the mouse. The company is setting up a new office in Berlin, take after. Meaning, to resemble a family member in appearance or character. Present, she really takes after her mother, they have the same smile. He takes after his father in his love for gardening. The boy takes after his grandfather with his musical talent. Our new puppy takes after its breed with its energetic personality. Past, everyone said I took after my aunt when I was young. He took after his side of the family with his tall stature. She took after her mother with her determined character. The child took after both parents in different ways. Future, I wonder who the baby will take after. She will probably take after her mother and become a doctor. He will take after his father and become an engineer. The plants will take after their parent plants and produce similar flowers. Participle, as he is growing up, he is taking after his uncle more and more. Her personality is taking after her grandmother's strong will. The new hybrid plant is taking after the more resilient species. Our daughter is taking after me with her love of reading. Take off. Meaning, to remove clothing, or for an aircraft to ascend. Present, the plane takes off from runway 3 at noon. He takes off his hat when he enters a building. Her career really took off after she published her first book. Please take off your shoes before you come in. Past, the flight took off an hour late due to fog. He took off his jacket because he was too hot. The product took off and became an instant success. She took off her glasses to clean them. Future, the new airline will take off next month. He will take off his tie at the end of the day. The new trend will take off on social media. The rocket will take off at dawn. Participle, the plane is taking off right now. Look out the window. He is taking off his wet clothes after getting caught in the rain. Her business is really taking off and expanding quickly. I am taking off this uncomfortable sweater, turn down, turn down, turn down. Meaning, to reject an offer or to reduce volume or heat. Present, I have to turn down the radio, it is too loud. She always turns down the thermostat at night to save energy. He turns down every job offer that requires him to move. The company turns down many applications for funding. Past, she turned down a marriage proposal from him last year. I turned down the invitation because I was too busy. He turned down the volume on the television. The bank turned down our loan application. Future, I will probably turn down the offer if the salary is too low. She will turn down the heat when she leaves the house. They will turn down our proposal, I am sure of it. Will you turn down the music if it bothers you? Participle, I am turning down the job because the commute is too long. He is turning down the brightness on his computer screen. The committee is turning down most requests this year. She is turning down the gas under the saucepan, a story using all 25 phrasal verbs. Every day, I carry on with my work at the small airport, a job I've loved since I grew up here. My father looked after the place before me. I always look forward to the morning, watching the first plane take off. Yesterday, however, was different. A major storm was approaching, and we had to call off all flights. A private jet had broken down on the runway the night before, and mechanics were figuring out the problem. My boss brought up the need to cut back on costs, which is a constant worry. He wants to do away with some older procedures. I was looking into a strange noise I came across while checking the hangar. I had to hold on tight to the ladder as the wind picked up. I ran out of time to finish my report, so I knew I'd have to set up my office again later. I never get along with the new operations manager, but we had to put up with each other during the crisis. He takes after his stubborn father. He turned down my suggestion to back up the control tower systems manually. Don't give up on the automated system yet, he went on, but I knew better. Later, we heard the sad news that old Captain Harris, a pilot who looked after me as a kid, had passed away. It was hard to get over the shock. He was like family. To make up for the somber mood, the team put off our disagreements and shared stories about him. We promised we wouldn't put off honoring him with a memorial service. Today, the storm has passed. Flights will go on as scheduled. I will not turn down the chance to tell his stories. I am setting up a photo board in the terminal now. Life at the airport carries on, but we will always remember the man we all took after in our love for the sky. The old coastal town of Seabrook was a place where time seemed to carry on at its own gentle pace. For Ilara, who had grown up there, it was both a prison and a sanctuary. She looked after her family's dusty bookshop, a treasure trove of stories she always looked forward to sharing with the few tourists who wandered in. Every morning, she would watch the fishing boats take off from the harbor, their engines sputtering against the vast silence of the ocean, one bleak Tuesday, the sky darkened prematurely. A storm, the forecasters had warned, was not just approaching, it was converging directly on Seabrook. The mayor had no choice but to call off the annual maritime festival. The disappointment was palpable. To make matters worse, Ilara's old van, a relic from her university days, had broken down right outside the shop. She was figuring out how to pay for the repairs when her older brother, Leo, arrived. Leo, who now lived in the city, always brought up the shop's declining profits during his visits. This time, his tone was more urgent. "Ilara," he said, his voice strained, "we seriously need to cut back on our expenses. I think we might even have to do away with the physical shop altogether, transition to online only." The words felt like a physical blow. Looking into his stern face, Ilara felt a surge of defiance. She would not let this happen, as the storm began to rage, rattling the windows. Ilara had to hold on to the doorframe to steady herself. She realized she had run out of time to procrastinate. If she wanted to save the shop, she needed a plan, and she needed to set up a proper business proposal to show Leo. She got along well with most of the townsfolk, but she knew she would have to put up with Leo's skepticism. He certainly took after their father in his stubborn pragmatism. Suddenly, a frantic knocking broke her concentration. It was Mrs. Higgins from the lighthouse. Her radio had broken down, and she was worried about the fishermen still out at sea. Without hesitation, Ilara called off her own worries. She knew she had to help. Braving the wind, she drove Mrs. Higgins to the town hall in her recently repaired van, which the mechanic had figured out how to fix just in time. The mayor was looking into the situation but seemed overwhelmed. Ilara, remembering stories her grandfather had brought up about old communication protocols, suggested they use the ham radio in the bookshop's basement, a system the town had done away with years ago. They had to cut back on the panic and focus. As they set up the old equipment, connecting wires and adjusting frequencies, Ilara came across a faded maritime logbook tucked away with the radio. Meanwhile, Leo, surprised by his sister's initiative, was finally getting along with the idea that the bookshop was more than just a business. The ham radio crackled to life. They made contact with a fishing trawler struggling in the storm. Ilara, her voice steady, told the captain to hold on, help was coming. The Coast Guard was alerted. In that moment of collective breath-holding, the town's spirit, which some thought had passed away, was vividly, undeniably alive. The next day, the storm had passed away, leaving a world washed clean. The rescued fishermen got over their fright with hot coffee and grateful smiles. Leo brought up the previous night with a new respect in his eyes. He had gotten over his initial doubt. "I was wrong," he admitted. "We can't do away with this place. It's the heart of the town. I turned down a merger offer from a big bookseller last month. And now I'm glad I did." Ilara, inspired by the discovery of the logbook, which turned out to be a historical record of shipwrecks and local lore, decided to go on with a new vision for the shop. She would not give up on it. She would set up a small museum corner and host storytelling events. She looked forward to weaving the town's history into its future. News of the rescue got around quickly. A journalist from the city came down to write a story, and a tourism agency got in on the act, promoting Seabrook as a destination of historic bravery. People went on to visit the bookshop in droves, not just for books, but for the story. Ilara never put anyone down for their lack of knowledge. Instead, she took the time to bring them up to speed on the town's rich history. She looked after every visitor with genuine care. She put together a display featuring the old ham radio and the logbook. She had to put up with the occasional hectic day, but she loved it. She took on the role of town historian with passion. Leo, seeing the success, backed up her ideas completely, providing the financial support she needed. One evening, as a new batch of visitors got off the bus, Ilara watched from the shop window. She saw a young girl pick up a seashell and look at it with wonder. It was a scene that called back to her own childhood. She knew then that she was carrying on her grandfather's legacy. The past did not have to pass away, it could be brought back to life, one story at a time. The future of Seabrook and its beloved bookshop was no longer something to worry about. It was a story that was just beginning, and Ilara was ready to go on writing it.